Welcome back to In Your Money. We're discussing short-term insurance. My guest is Morag Dover. You'd like to email me, you can send your email to info@anchorcapital.co.za. I'm getting straight on to emails. My first email is from Jackie in Pietermaritzburg. She says, do you think the establishment of the Ombudsman Office for short-term insurance has helped to get companies to resolve claims before it has to actually go there?
Yes.
Do you?
Without a doubt, yeah. One thing the insurance companies don't like is to be referred to the Ombudsman. So they will make sure if they do repudiate a claim, they have got 100% accuracy in what they're doing. And many cases got overturned by the Ombudsman. So yeah, it has made a huge difference in the market on the way insurance companies view claims. In fact, many of them now have what they call committee meetings, where they will all sit around a table and they will discuss the merits of a claim and the repercussions of not paying that claim, even though it may not be covered in terms of the wording. What would the repercussions be? So it definitely has a huge impact.
Morag, what impact does underinsurance create on claims?
Huge.
And are so many people underinsured? Because, you know, if you think about property prices, certainly in the Johannesburg area, I mean, the replacement price is probably double what you can get on market price.
That's the anomaly, because if you look at Cape Town, it's the opposite. The replacement value is much less than the actual retail value, whereas in Johannesburg you've got that whole problem. And most people do not believe that the property is worth what it actually would cost to replace. They look at it and say, I can only sell it for 2 million rand. But they forget to rebuild that, knock it down, start again, build your walls. Everyone forgets how much it costs to build a wall. Driveways, swimming pools, all of that adds on to the value of the property. And it does affect average. And the insurance companies will apply average.
Is that, I mean, you've always had the great ability to negotiate claim settlements for your clients. But is that one of the most difficult underinsurance?
Yeah, it is. You know, and you may dispute the value that an insurance company puts on it, because normally they will get a quantity severe. In the event of a total loss, for instance, they will get a quantity severe in who will quantify that claim. And most people will find themselves to be drastically underinsured. The other aspect of it is, for me, your home is your major loss. If your house burns down or it's majorly damaged.
Doesn't have to burn down.
Majorly damaged.
Partial damage.
Because that causes more trouble, because in the total loss claim, you're going to get your money go. But in a partial loss, that's when you have a problem, because now you've got to fix your roof after a major hailstorm, and that roof is going to cost you 300,000 rand to replace. In fact, I've just had a roof replaced for 980,000 rand caused by hail damage. So, but the house itself is now underinsured, so the insurance company may say, well, you were 50% underinsured, we're only going to pay 50% of your claim. You're now in for that cost to yourself, and many people can't afford it.
Yeah.
So.
Vera in Pretoria says, I've had a problem with a claim due to load shedding. Insurers have told me that the new conditions were implemented. I never saw any notification. Is this a claim that could be reported to the Ombudsman Office?
Okay, firstly, load shedding is not a claim. Power surge is a claim, and I think that's where everybody gets. The load shedding can cause power surge, which can damage your goods. And yes, most of the insurance companies, because of the amount of claims they've had for this power surge, have reduced the cover. But you have to be notified 30 days in writing to any changes to your terms and conditions. So if you haven't been notified and the insurance company, you can prove that the insurance company haven't sent you any details, then you have grounds to go to the Ombudsman. That you haven't been notified, they must give you notice.
Can you buy up on load shedding?
Some companies you can. Some will allow it, some not. Be careful, people tend to think of load shedding only for the fridges, the water, the TVs, that type of thing. It can affect your home. So, your whole entire lighting system, your electrical system could be blown by power surge. And most of the insurance companies are restricting to cover dramatically to maybe, some it's 10,000 rand, some 20, some will go up to 100,000, maybe 200,000. One or two companies are still giving full cover, but how long that will last for, I really don't know. But it is an important thing to look at on your policy, especially with solar. People putting solar systems in. That's maybe 200, 300,000 rand for a solar system, and your power surge cover is restricted to 5,000 rand. That's a problem. So
you've really got to, with all these latest things, we talked about cyber crime, we spoke about load shedding, we spoke about who's driving cars. These are all things that, people need to be aware of. And they can't just pay their premiums. It's like checking anything else, they need to check their short-term insurance.
Yeah, they have to, yeah.
Then Lewis in Paul says, is it fair for insurers to repudiate a claim because of late notification when they've not been prejudiced? So let's assume someone loses a ring and only reports it 8 months later, and the value of the cost of that ring's gone up in value, but they're going to get paid out of the value. Is that fair late notification, Morag?
Look, you would find that most insurance companies, despite late notification, would look at the claim and decide that it hasn't really affected them. The problem with late notification is, you say, for instance, if it's a vehicle. Many people think, I've had an accident with a car, but I won't put that damage in until I get another damage because I'm 6-7 months down the line. Now, in that case, the cost of those repairs has gone up, and the insurance companies will tend to repudiate a claim. But again, it's one of those things that insurance companies don't like to do. They don't really like to repudiate on that ground unless they really feel that they have been prejudiced. So you can make representation to them. And if you've got a good enough reason why you didn't, they will view it.
But Maureen, going back to that, if you have 2 different claims, it is 2 different events.
Yeah, 2 different excesses, 2 different loss of no claims bonuses, which people try to say, oh no, but they have to fix the bumper because that side was damaged, so they have to fix that anyway. No, there's 2 claims, so you still have to pay it.
Catherine in Seapoint said, has there been a change in the number of complaints, particularly relating to floods and water damage? And in other words, you mentioned water damage. You mentioned this replacement, 980,000 rand. And there's a responsibility on policyholders to maintain their properties.
Yeah, very much so. And that's one of the major gripes that I spend many months trying to sort out claims where the place has not been maintained. You have to clear your gutters. You have to make sure that your roof is maintained. You have to have it checked. If you don't, the insurance companies are not there to pay maintenance-related claims. They're there for the unforeseen damages. They're there for the storms, the unforeseen. But you can't have water damage to a property and say it's storm damage because the water's come through the storm, but you haven't maintained your roof for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. You haven't looked at it. So that's a major problem. The problem that South Africa is going to see at the moment is the reinsurers. Reinsurers are looking very seriously at Natal and the damages that are happening in Natal with the storms and everything that's going on. And the view is that insurance will become unaffordable in Natal at some stage because of those types of claims that are coming through. We're waiting, the impact's still to come through from the reinsurers, but it is a problem.
So, I mean, let's just give a message to our viewers. When it comes to your home, please make sure that you maintain and you have a look at your roof, and you need to see whether there's any way, clear the gutters of leaves and all those type of things.
Yeah.
And
so waterproofing. Waterproofing is a big one. Waterproofing doesn't last forever. You have to renew your waterproofing. And if the waterproofing rots and there's a claim and there's water damage, the insurance company is not going to pay for that. The damage has been caused because you did not replace your waterproofing on your roof. It's a big one.
You say that's quite a big, takes up a lot of your time.
A lot of my time.
What, trying to prove that they don't need to maintain the roof?
Yeah.
Morag, let's talk about policies. Let's talk about savings for a moment. I mean, let's talk about householders or risk. Let's talk about motor. You know, what is your advice to people who are struggling? Obviously, insure the main item. And what can they do?
Well, the first thing is insure for the catastrophe covers. Make sure you insure your home properly, your contents properly. That's your catastrophe. The bells and whistles of if you lose a ring or you lose a wallet or something, that you can live with. That you will survive. A fire in your home you will not survive if the place burns down and you've got to replace it. You can reduce premiums in certain levels. You can take a voluntary excess, for instance. I don't always recommend it because the savings never, to me, doesn't warrant the taking of the excess. And motor vehicles, you can restrict driving to 1 or 2 people. You can take limited mileage cover. Comply with every instruction that the insurance company want, whether it be an alarm system. You can get a discount for an alarm system. You can get a discount for a tracking device. So there's certain things that you can get discounts for.
But then make sure they work.
They work.
You can't go and get a discount for an alarm that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Or you don't put it on.
Yeah. Or you don't put it on. And that's one of also the problems you have. If you have an alarm warranty in your policy and you don't put your alarm on, you have problems. And be careful, it's not just at night time when you go to bed. You know, you lock up and you put your alarm on. If you go to the shops and your house is unoccupied and you have an alarm warranty in your policy, you have to put your alarm on. Or there's grounds for
just clarify what you mean when you leave the home and it's unattended. Staff member there?
Staff member in the house, yes, but if the staff member is not in the house but in the room which is separate from the house, no, it doesn't count.
Okay. Then I'll take the one more email. Arlene in Johannesburg says, does the insurer have the right to make any request which is not reasonable in order to validate a claim? I wish he'd given me more details about what not reasonable. But insurers can ask anything. They have every right to ask questions and assess themselves when formulating it.
Yeah, I think people have got to understand the insurance company's paying a claim. They have the right to investigate that claim. I've just recently had a client very upset because the insurance company put an investigator onto a claim where someone was killed in an accident. The insurance companies, that is standard procedure. In a theft example of a theft, an investigator will be put on. So it's a standard procedure. If unreasonable, I don't know what you would mean by unreasonable.
Yeah, I wish you'd clarified more.
But the insurance company has every right to investigate every claim. And some of the insurance companies will have voice logging where they can actually tell by the tone of your voice when you report a claim, oh yeah, that there's something not quite right. They can identify on that voice recording that there's something not quite right, and they will investigate.
Well, we never spoke about technology. We haven't got time to talk about technology.
No, technology is...
And how that plays a role going forward.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to understand that now the insurance companies are recording claims, and they now have a combined effort where they can actually pick out where someone's been insuring with a few different companies, and also serial numbers and watches and things like that. They will track them. Wow. So, yeah.
Well, although short-term insurance may be seen as a grudge purchase, it's essential to cover all those items that can have a major impact on your financial life if you have a claim. Insurers do not like unlucky or careless policyholders. It does not make sense to claim for every little item, nor does it make sense to insure for every little item, which in the event of a loss may be upsetting, but not a major financial loss. For this reason, one can save on premiums by reassessing your household and motor insurance, by not insuring small items, and as Morag says, perhaps taking on bigger excess. Morag, thank you for joining me this evening. It's important to know that our program is to provide information and should not be construed as advice. Next week's program, we'll be dealing with investments, and if you need to get hold of me, my details will appear on the screen. I'd like to thank you for watching, and good night.